Welcome again to Open Range. This is the real estate edition this week. And in real estate, we're going to be talking about your experience in communicating with your agent and just the overall experience with purchasing or selling a home. And so we're going to get into that. We're also going to talk about the benefits of and the drawbacks of potential data centers. We've been talking about that the last couple segments. I have some updated news for you on the Mandan data center that's planned for coming here potentially in the next couple months. And so we're going to discuss that. But we're going to start again, like I said, with trying to help people get the best experience you can when you are buying or selling a home. And maybe experience is not the best word. A lot of people, they're looking for getting the best value out of their home when, in the outset, or when they're or getting the most money from their home when they're selling it. And when you're buying it, you're looking for obviously getting the best deal, the best home. And so you have different goals, but what people see after, and I hear this quite often during my experience when I help people buy or sell, is that in the beginning, they don't talk about the experience. They kind of expect it, they have certain expectations. But then when they get to the end of the process, usually that's when there's kind of a letter grade that I get as a realtor, as a broker associate, that I get from my clients when they are done and they've experienced that process of buying and selling. And so it's important to know on the outset, I think for each person out there, as you're going through this process of purchasing, buying, selling a property, to know that it's important to identify your own expectations up front, because knowing what that is up front and knowing what you feel like, instead of just having it in the back of your mind and thinking, okay, this is what I'm expecting, or not, maybe even not even consciously even thinking, but maybe even subconsciously thinking about it. It's important to think about it really and articulate that and verbalize that, not only to yourself and maybe to your spouse or somebody that's a loved one that's looking for, that's helping you through the process, but it's also important to articulate it to your realtor that's going to help you get the job done. Like I said, and so many people, it's kind of assumed, it's kind of, it's like walking down the street, or, if you're walking down the steps, you don't think about when you take a step down that you need to put your foot down. It just happens intuitively that you are just expecting it to be there when you put your foot down, right? And so that's just a subconscious thing. And so that's kind of the way that a lot of people will treat buying and selling a home. They will make the assumption that everything is going to be just as they're seeing, maybe that they see it on TV or they heard from a friend. And so they've made some assumptions along the way. And it's really important to realize that that may not happen. And so you got to make sure that those expectations are communicated properly. So, and as always throughout the show, I always welcome you to send me comments, questions that you might have about the process. Would be happy to answer them and get you the best experiences that you can. So what are some of the things? So the first thing that you can talk about is time of day. So that's that you want to have communication. And so if your realtor does not start the conversation of communicating, one thing to do is on the buyer side or the seller side is to talk about your work schedule. Because if you have shift work, or if you don't work on Fridays or Mondays, or you don't work at all, or you're going on vacations or trips frequently, all that stuff is really important because the realtor is probably not going to know unless they're asking when to call you, when to text you. And it's maybe your assumption that, well, they're going to contact me whenever it's the most important piece of information that comes out. Well, sometimes, and a lot of times, that can be staggered to fit to your schedule. And sometimes calling you at the wrong time or texting at the wrong time is a big deal, and it can really sour the experience, and it can give a bad response to the realtor saying, well, I didn't realize that you didn't like that house. Well, maybe they did like the house that I sent to you for potentially considering buying, but you just weren't in the right frame of mind and you were upset. And so a lot of those things, get the time of day right and get the days right. So if certain days are better than other days, That's a communication point that is really important to have. So if your realtor doesn't bring these things up, I want you to bring this up, okay? Methods. So how to be contacted. So that could be email, phone, text. I find, interestingly, if I have a lawyer client, and I don't mean to stereotype all lawyers, but if lawyers or people that have salaried desk jobs, they're at their computers all day and they're checking their emails, and that is their like main focus of communication. I also find that maybe people that are, and this is big broad swaths, maybe not fair to generalize so much, but people that are maybe more extroverted, they're on the phones all the time, calling lots of people, texting lots of people. A lot of realtors, they like to deal with people with phone or with text. That's very important. And so I've found over the years that, especially with people that have more corporate jobs, they're responding so quickly with email. And so getting that right, like how do you want to be connected with? And also on the expectation side, if you're sending your realtor an email response, hey, I like this house, just keep in mind that your realtor may not be checking email for the entire day. Or they may be, some agents may not check their texts all but a couple times a day, or they may not answer their phones at all, or you may not answer your phones. Super, super important. And once I get that expectation set, it's just amazing how much better the experience is for everyone. So time of day, the methods, the timing, with there's different time zones, and so that you could potentially be, I have a couple clients that are a minimum of 2 time zones away. They're either buying a property and moving here or selling a property, and keep in mind the time zones. And it's funny because sometimes my East Coast time zone people stay up late, and my Pacific time people, they'll go to bed early. So you always have to kind of make sure you get that straight. Buying versus selling, you get a very different realtor based on buying and selling. There's some agents that are just more inclined to help buyers. They're the kind of people that love to take a lot of time, and they love showing, they love buying, they love the buying process. They enjoy spending time with people, and they have tons of patience. You really have to have a lot of patience to be able to go through different houses. And as a realtor, a good realtor is going to put their minds inside the bodies, so to speak, of their clients so that they can understand what are the problems that they're facing. Because I learned very early on that what I felt was very important from a buyer's perspective is very, very different from when you put yourself in other people's shoes. And I thought, well, most buyers that are buying, they want to make sure they have a good investment. So here are some rigorous rules to follow for investment. But that's only true to a certain extent. There's a lot of people that are not necessarily looking to make money on a property. They just want a property that is turnkey, that they can get into right away and not have to do any work. And as a matter of fact, as I found out more, as I learned about this, it's more probably the situation than not that people, they love to have something all fixed up and ready. So, a good realtor is going to make sure that they understand you first and have a good understanding of what you're looking for and your needs, because only when they understand you will they be able to understand and help you and give you the right proper guidance and representation. So, buyer's agents, listing agents. Listing agents are going to be kind of a different animal, different breed. And all agents, I would say most agents are both. But you might find that one is a lot better with one side and not so much on another side. And so you might have to decide. It is possible to use one realtor for the buying side and one person for the listing side. A lot of agents are multi-talented. They're both very personable. They love spending time with you. They can put themselves in your mindset and get the right property for you. They have good connections with lenders, with other contractors, and they can solve all your problems that you're looking for. And then also have another set of skills, which we're going to talk about now, as the listing agent side. So they might have both, but you have to kind of make sure you understand there is a difference, and there's a difference of personality. On the listing side, you're definitely looking for somebody who's aggressive, who's going to make sure they get the job done, that they're going to tell you straight the way it is, and still be able to work with you. And I think there are some listing agents that are like, it's my way or the highway to hell. It's, and they're just very, they're very direct. And in some cases, that is a lot what buyers sellers are looking for. They're looking for someone that's just going to just damn the torpedoes. They're just going to go for it, and they're going to go head into it. And sometimes, and a lot of times, that's what sellers are looking for: someone to just take charge, get the job done, be direct, negotiate strong. That's all really great qualities to have. But remember and recall that on the listing agent side, that's different than the buying agent side. Those two personalities are very different. So we're going to talk a little bit more about some other communication stuff. Like I said, we're going to talk about set expectations beforehand. Remember, there are 600 agents in Bismarck, Mandan alone. So in North Dakota, I believe the number's at around 2,000, over 2,000. There are so many professionals out there. Make sure you get the right one that fits you, that represents you well, that does an excellent job at what you feel is important, and because you do have choice, you do have the options to choose the person that meets your expectations the best. So after the break, we are going to talk about the last 5 things that I like to consider when giving you the best experience when it comes to client communication, realtor communication in the real estate world. So we'll catch you around after the break.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Find relief for what ails you at Steep Me Tea Apothecary. Teas, supplements, tinctures, and more. Formulated to fight whatever has you down. We're Bismarck Mandan's favorite place to find delicious, natural, and easy ways to alleviate symptoms brought on by anything from colds to cancer. Brew a better you at Steep Me Tea Apothecary. Steep Me products may cause side effects, including but not limited to improved mood, deeper sleep, enhanced hydration, renewed sense of smell, increased energy levels, superior balance, boosted immunity, proper digestion, restored sense of calm, and a delightful smelling home.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza.
Welcome to Radiant Retreat Tanning and Spa in Mandan, where a relaxing spa experience meets the latest in healing innovations. Take total control of your massage in our Hydro Massage Bed. Experience whole body healing in our Zero Body Cryo Bed. Let our Salt Sauna and Halo Generator restore your respiratory and skin health. And of course, tailored tanning will keep you looking as good as you feel. Discover your best self at Radiant Retreat, 1307 First Street Northeast, Mandan.
Are you dealing with arthritis, nerve and back pain, dry skin, or superficial wounds, but found no relief? Give Stewart's Natural Health a try. For over 4 decades, Stewart's Natural Health has been helping people and animals with herbal and natural oil lotions, ointments, and creams with a mission to help you relieve pain and feel your best using the power of nature. Discover the safe, drug-free solution to your pain, guaranteed or your money back. Visit stewartsnatural.health today.
West River Equipment of Mandan is here to help you maintain peak productivity in your operation. As an authorized dealer for many high-quality equipment lines, we have the new and used equipment it takes to make your farming, ranching, or construction operation profitable and efficient. West River Equipment also has the parts on hand and the experienced technicians in our shop to get your equipment back in action fast. Find what you need at West River Equipment on Old Red Trail in Mandan.
Welcome again back to Open Range Real Estate Edition. I am Will Gardner, broker associate, realtor with Century 21 Morrison Realty, based here in Bismarck, Mandan, and service throughout the state. Happy to have you on the show here today. We are finishing our top communication tips for having an excellent experience, and then we're going to get into the data centers, the pros and cons, and we have some follow-up stuff, so really important stuff. Last segment, you don't want to miss that. We have some new information that I've received after talking with some of the data center leaders. So we are going to just finish up our excellent client communication top 10 list. So one thing to consider too is you want an agent both on the listing side and on the buyer side. As we said, there's different personalities for each, and you try to want to find someone that can handle both. But someone that's able to check in and report frequently. And this may seem common sense to you, it may be an expectation, but you want to make sure you tell your realtor how often you want to be communicated with. So for example, I do have some clients that we're listing some land and they have the expectations that could be several months, it could be a couple years before it sells, because it's a unique property and they're looking for a particular price for it. And so a lot of those clients, I may not be checking in once a month. There's others that I'm going to be checking in almost daily. And knowing exactly what you're looking for and how important that communication is important to set that up ahead of time. One of the things that I've done over the years is typically I'll call my sellers on a Monday, because those sellers will be, will come through the weekend and they're more in tune to, okay, it's the beginning of the week, where are we at? It's everyone's putting their work hat on for the week and getting their tasks done. And so usually sellers are looking for an update on where they're at with their home and the sale of their home. You get towards the end of the week, everyone's ready to relax and take it easy, and now the buyers are out and it's the weekend, they've worked all week, now they want to look forward to something, and now they're thinking about, okay, let's talk about what homes are on the market and what to buy. So there's this, even the psychology of how to do that is important, and I've kind of over the years grown attuned to, okay, this is what our buyers expect, this is what our sellers expect, and just naturally kind of changed my schedule to perfectly fit that. So that's one strategy, and different realtors are going to have their strategies of how best to communicate, because a buyer is typically not very receptive on a Monday morning, because they're usually at work and they usually have to, they're usually having a job in order to pay for the property they're buying. So the check-ins are important, because even if, as a realtor, even if I don't have news for my client, it is just so important to just call and talk. And it's amazing that I found over the years that as I'm having a conversation, we are talking about a whole bunch of things that are very important, that are actually very timely. And just because we've scheduled that time, or we've just picked up the phone and had the conversation, it has really helped the experience in the relationship. So that's a great tip. Make sure you're asking your realtor to check in with you and how frequently you want that. Just be bold, friends. Like, be aggressive. You are the one paying your realtor to work for you. I think the worst thing that can happen in the relationship with your realtor and the realtor with their client is this constant assumption that there's not much to do, or they don't need to hear anything because there's no news. It really starts to drive a wedge. It boils down to like worse service and worse quality. You want to be out and communicate with your clients to make sure that they're in touch with you, that if there's anything that can be done, that you're working on it and doing it, improving even in the sale, or improving and looking. Maybe through conversations, you talk about, on the buying side, you're talking about the type of property they're interested in, and all of a sudden you realize you haven't been looking at condos or townhouses, and now you bring that into the mix. It's exactly what they're looking for, and there's 5 of them out there. Having those conversations and constantly updating instead of just waiting is super critical. Privacy, that's another big important part of this. I think sometimes privacy is super important, and that's why a lot of realtors actually will err on the side of more privacy, which is great. I mean, we want to make sure that you're protected. I've found that sometimes part of representation and part of guidance, but mostly representation side, is how a realtor, how skilled they are at getting and communicating to the other side what your client is looking for without talking a lot about specifics. Getting into generalities is a really safe way to go into a discussion and a negotiation, because being specific and doing that poorly can lead towards miscommunication. It can lead towards a breakdown in understanding, or set things off in a way different direction. So that's really important, to find someone who can carefully communicate. And I think of it, privacy as kind of a level of opacity. Okay, if you're changing clothes, you do not want any opacity, right? Like, you want to make sure you have a solid brick wall. Now, if you're, let's say you're frustrated with the price of a home, but you really like the home, now you need to show that some opacity of your willingness to maybe go down a little bit on the price or up a little bit on the price, but you're not going to go too far. And so you want your agent to kind of start to signal that, look, work with us. We are willing to negotiate a little bit. We're willing to work on the price a little bit, without telling you what their new price would be or how low they would go, right? So having that opacity level to where you can turn up or turn down how much you want to communicate, from what you're really thinking to what you want the other side to know. That's really important. Representation versus advice/guidance. Now, having this expectation for your realtor is important. I will come across some people who've had bad experience with realtors, and so they will, sometimes when I approach them, I will approach them in terms of not necessarily representation, but I'll talk to them, I can guide you. And there's a big difference in my mind. Representation means I'm going to speak for you, I'm going to do everything in your stead, right? Guidance has this I guess, less of a role. I still call it a very, very important role. It's probably even more important, but that guidance role is more like, here's what I would do. Here is what is normal. That's what I will typically tell people. This is what's normal. This is what I see typically. This is what I would do. And a lot of times, if I find that someone's had a bad experience, I usually go the guidance route and say, this is what I would do. There are other times when I have a much more of a representative role, especially if someone isn't, they aren't very strategically minded, or they just don't like to deal with other people. There's a lot of reasons why representation becomes much stronger, and that's where I'm mostly leading the way, and I'm mostly just checking in and letting them know how things are going and the general broad strokes of the transaction. But I always make sure my clients know that what I'm giving them is guidance. One thing that I've told CEOs that I worked with before is that, look, I'll do what you want to do, even if it's crazy. I will do it, but I want you to know, you don't have to agree with me, but I just want you to know that what you're asking for is pretty out there. It probably won't get accepted, but I'm still willing to try it. I will pitch it. I will work as hard as I can to make it happen. I will think of every possible angle to make this work for you. I'll get in your mind and know exactly why you're thinking the way you are, but I want you to know that this isn't typical, and this may not be accepted, and this may not be something that will go through. And the wording I use is, look, it's fine if we go off a cliff. I will go off the cliff with you, but I want you to know there's a cliff there. And as long as you know there's a cliff there, I'll buckle up and go off with you. I'm with you. And because that's part of fiduciary duty, as I have to do what you want me to do. Obedience is one of the 7 letters and the 7 words of the fiduciary duties. And so at some point, even though I've guided you, I've given you all the information, I will make sure you understand that that's not the right direction to go. But at the end of the day, obedience is one of the fiduciary duties that I have, and I will 100% be there for you. And if we need to drive off the cliff, I'll buckle up and go off with you. Hopefully we don't get that far. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But in some cases, it's kind of amazing. Sometimes it is exactly what they want. They fully, many of my clients, they fully realize, look, that's important. that is exactly what they wanted. And they knew that it may not get accepted, and they were fine with it. And so if they're fine with it, I'm fine with it because I'm representing them. So that's important to remember. Last one is being proactive. And just remember that even though you're hiring a realtor to guide you and even to represent you, that you drive the ship. And I will just say that you can still get great experience with great representation, great guidance, even though you aren't doing it. As a matter of fact, it almost always is so much better when you're having a professional guide it and represent you, as long as that person is excellent and you can trust that person. But don't just sit in the back seat and just say, well, he knows everything, I'm not going to ask questions. Please, please, and I tell my clients this all the time, ask questions. So important to ask questions. It helps clarify everything, and you don't want to get to the end of the process and wish you had asked questions. It is so important that you understand things along the way. And if a realtor doesn't have that visual to look at you and say, okay, his eyes are glossing over, her eyes are glossing over, we need to explain this. If they're not doing that, you need to just be upfront and frank. And I think throughout this whole process, the one thing you're going to help in getting a better experience from your real estate process, the one thing is just ask questions, understand. Just ask questions, be bold, be upfront, tell your realtor what you want, because that is the way that you're going to get the best experience, and that's what we want for you. Because at the end of the day, if you're not getting a great house for a great deal or selling it for the most you can, and having an excellent experience on the way with your expectations, you're not getting the service you deserve. So after the break here, we're going to talk again about data centers on our final segment, Open Range Real Estate Edition.
Base Flug Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Flug Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Come on in and experience small-town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and the team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. The Set Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Yeah, U.S. Cattlemen is a member organization that each member has a vote in anything we do with policy. We're representing the independent cattleman or the cow-calf guy or an independent feeder or whatever. We like to support the independent producer. We're talking about mandatory ID, we're talking about cool, we're talking about all the legislation that's going to be coming down with the new administration. There's going to be lots of moving and shaking, so always check us out at our website, uscattleman.org.
We're talking to people today about investments. Let's see if we can get somebody. Excuse me, sir, do you have a retirement account?
I do. I'm invested in some annuities.
Fixed income? How is that?
It was better a few years ago. Each year, it buys less and less, barely keeping up.
That's where gold can make a difference. Unlike fixed payouts, gold rises with inflation, so you're not stuck with a low fixed payment.
So gold isn't stuck in the past like my annuity?
Don't let inflation erode your retirement savings. Invest in gold. Invest with Noble Gold Investments.
I'm $27,000 in credit card debt.
Okay.
You have to radically do something different, because if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting.
Now's not the time to be doing math. The time to be doing math was when we didn't go into $200,000 of debt.
If you are freaked out and you're stuck in these debt payments and you think it has to be a part of your life, it doesn't.
We are Ladies of Another View. Join us every weekday morning at 9 o'clock a.m. as we discuss the big topics from North Dakota, the nation, and around the world.
We chat with everyone from celebrities and medical professionals to politicians, local business owners, and neighbors about the topics and stories that affect all of us.
We are unscripted and uncensored real news from real people. So join us every weekday morning for Ladies of Another View on back.
Welcome back again to our final segment of Open Range, Real Estate Edition. I am your host, Will Gardner, broker associate, realtor with Century 21 Morrison Realty based here in Bismarck, North Dakota. And we are talking now about data centers. We were just talking about having a great experience with the real estate process. Now let's talk about data centers. And I got something from the mailbag, but first we are going to maybe touch on a few topics. This is one of the things as we were talking about the data centers in the last couple of episodes and having conversations with you, the viewers, and I appreciate all the letters that you guys have sent in. We got another one today, and we'll share that. But one of the things that has been on my mind quite a bit is this idea of growth versus not growing at all. And how should we grow? So because there are certainly people throughout the process that I've kind of come to realize, like, well, I don't know if people really want growth. And that's fair to not want growth or want to have very minimal growth or very conservative growth. And I think that's a fair position to have. I'm not against that. It's not necessarily the way that my mind works. I'm a very pro-growth minded person. But that said, one of the things is going through this process, it's changed me actually to be a lot more cautious on the growth and a lot more careful and more judicious and not just take anything when it comes in. There's a lot to think about with every decision that's pertaining to growth and how you grow and the blueprint that you have for growing and how you plan it and making sure that as much or as everything that you can think of is fixed along the way ahead of time is so much more important than quick, immediate growth. So one of the things that's kind of interesting, so in North Dakota, in many municipalities, and probably almost the super majority of places and cities across the country, use zoning as a technique to control growth. And so that means you can have an industrial area, a residential area, a commercial area, and so there's different ways that you can zone land, and every municipality has their own codes and definitions. There's not a consistent default across different municipalities. Even Bismarck and Mandan have different residential codes. So how that's done is different. And in particular, one that's very interesting is that the city of Houston has zero zoning. So that's very interesting. When I first heard that they have no zoning, you can have an industrial plant right next to a residential home. I mean, I thought that was pretty crazy. Now they do have some certain rules in there that kind of help eliminate crazy scenarios like waste treatment right next door to a home, but that's still not as much bureaucracy and red tape as we have with zoning up here. So it's made for Houston to be one of the fastest growing, one of the biggest cities in the country, and how quickly it's gone because of the zoning process is so bureaucratic. It's so lengthy in time, and it goes through this channel to where someone who's got land or just purchased land or wants to improve the land has got to go to the city, ask for their permission. And then at that time, the city, there's many times the city's saying no, and then from a developer circuit, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that. And in some ways, it's a good thing, right? Because they're protecting you, the citizens out there, from that growth. And so that can be a good thing. But sometimes it can be a very negative thing where some little thing is hinged on one rule in the city ordinance, and so you have to go through this process in order to get approved. So that's something to consider, and who is the best ones to decide on growth. So we're going to go into more of that in a future segment and kind of how that development process works and what is the right political philosophy for that. But that's all kind of a preamble to the data centers segment here that I wanted to catch you up on. I did get an email from a viewer from Mandan saying, I watched your latest episode on Open Range last night and again this morning. A couple questions. We should ask or check with Williston to see how many permanent jobs are at their data center in their area. I saw a video of someone interviewing people that lived near the data center, and they say the noise is constant. And regarding permanent jobs, they never see more than a couple vehicles at the data center at one time. Now, I'm not sure if that may not be a hyper data center. I'm not sure about the one in Williston. Regarding the data center in Allendale, why did they need to haul their wastewater to a special EPA regulated disposal site? What did they put in that water? Thank you, Tom. Tom from Mandan. No, that's a good point. And I didn't mean to laugh at that last point, but I mean, it's certainly a question. So to your question, I did, Tom, reach out to that developer or potential developer. They've not really put an application in yet. And I've got an answer to your question. So it is propylene glycol that is put in and mixed with the water that's helping cycle through and cool off all of the data center equipment, all the servers. And so that's what's in it. I don't know why they have to take it off site to an I believe when I heard, I was talking, I think the mayor had made mention of Mandan that they were taking this off to an EPA site. And I thought that was a good thing, but I could also see, it's an EPA regulated site, man, it must be nasty. What they've told me, and this is from the data center folks, they have said that the waste that's coming out of there is from the water and the propylene glycol. That propylene glycol is in very common products, everyday products that we use, from cleaning products in our bathrooms to they say I'll say this with lots of quotes, but they tell me that it is consumable, even, I guess, to some degree. I don't know if I'd ever want to touch propylene glycol, but just the name of it. But I know some of those foods have some really weird names in them. But I don't think it's necessarily intended to be a food, but I think it is consumable. A couple other things I asked the data center people to comment on. I think one of the biggest things that I had gotten feedback from regular citizens is how the impact, or why put this infrastructure inside. Well, it's not really in the city limits, but it would be annexed in if it were approved, and once the application comes about. I asked, why do we want it so close to the town? The data center folks were saying that they want the transmission lines. They're trying to have as minimal impact in having more transmission lines run out to certain areas, more roads, more infrastructure created. Obviously, that's going to be a benefit to the data center people. It's going to be less cost all around, but it would be less impactful as well if we didn't have to run as much lines, I suppose. They did say that they are going to be publishing the Mandan data center. They are going to be publishing a site with details and contact information so that anyone can reach out if they want. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 701-388-6171. My email address down here, realtorwill@wlgardner.com. So feel free to either email or call. The number is there. And I can ask if you have any other questions for data center folks, I'd be happy to reach out to them. If you have any questions for people that are not part of the data center that are concerned, I'd love to relay those questions on to some of those leaders. A couple other, about 10 items here. I think I'm number 4. Open house later this month. So they are going to be publishing information on their website, and that'll be disseminated. They said they're going to send me a copy right away. I will post that. And then there is an open house later this month. They said not a date on the calendar yet, but towards the end of the month. And at that open house, they're going to have experts there that are going to answer questions and concerns that people might have about the proposed data center in North Mandan there. I asked about the distance away. I would say that's probably my number one reason what people want is to know how close these data centers can be to existing residential properties. You know, originally when I started talking with them, we started talking, we as a city, just to cover all of our bases, we put down a half-mile setback. Obviously, a half mile is an enormous amount of space. And if you do a half-mile setback, you basically can't put a data center anywhere in Mandan because you're not a half mile. You can't find a point in Mandan half a mile from any place that doesn't have residents. So that is pretty much a no-go, but I asked the data center, they're talking about 250 feet. So probably somewhere that's I think the table is set to from a half mile to 250 feet. So we're gonna have to see where that actually ends up. Is it gonna be a half mile? Is it gonna be closer? 250 feet. I will say that I did talk to someone that is very heavily involved in building and creating data centers across the country, very intimately involved. And he just so happens to have his house that's going to border this data center and border it on two sides with another family member. So I felt a very excellent and about as unbiased as you possibly can get perspective, and maybe not, I don't know. You can tell me, give me your thoughts. But someone that was both involved in this on a business standpoint and involved in living in his backyard, had to live by one. I asked him, what do you think the setback should be? And after about a half an hour of talking, he said, quarter mile. That's what he told me. So there's a number out there. Now, I did talk to the data center people. Quarter mile sounds like that's going to be hard. It's going to be very, very difficult. We're going to have to find out. Again, it's got to work for everyone. It's got to work for the citizens, and it's not going to work for everyone. Let's just get our expectations set. It is not going to work for everyone, but we'll have to find out where that number is that makes sense and is honest, true representation of both what the city wants and the landowners. So we did talk about generator noise. He's talking less than 100 hours in a year. They'd be testing him during the business hours. And there are 400 jobs. It sounds like it's going to be more like 150 full-time jobs, 1,000 temporary jobs in the next 3 to 5 years. He's thinking about August 20th for a week when they'd be down here. So you're going to have a lot of opportunity at that open house to ask the questions. And we got to wrap it up. But more next week on Open Range Real Estate Edition. Looking forward to seeing you then.
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I want to tell you, Lady Blue and I, we got a lot of miles together, but you know what? You and I got a lot of miles together as well. And all I want to do is bring to you the information on how we maintain a domestic supply of food and fuel for future generations. So I'm going to continue to travel the world and unearth the stories that make it possible that we can live in a free United States of America.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza. Are you dealing with arthritis, nerve and back pain, dry skin, or superficial wounds, but found no relief? Give Stewart's Natural Health a try. For over 4 decades, Stewart's Natural Health has been helping people and animals with herbal and natural oil lotions, ointments, and creams with a mission to help you relieve pain and feel your best using the power of nature. Discover the safe, drug-free solution to your pain, guaranteed or your money back. Visit stewartsnatural.health today.
We are the St. Mary Sisters. We are building a new facility here in Bismarck, North Dakota, for the sake of training young women to be courageous teachers in this state. The sisters will educate the younger generation to be fully alive through truth and discipline. The sisters' life of devotion and joy will make a positive difference in your community. Check out what we're up to, see what's going on, and join our mission to make a difference in the lives of the children of North Dakota.
Ashley, North Dakota is where life moves a little slower, but never gets dull. From hunting, camping, and fishing to safe streets where kids can be kids, this is the best of small town living. And Ashley offers everything you need, from healthcare to hardware to countless ways to stay active. Here, we've invested in our future with major upgrades to roads, parks, and education. Whether you're here for the day or here for life, you'll find Ashley's where you ought to be.
There's never been a better time to rediscover the style, reliability, and all-season, all-terrain fun of the all-new Nissan lineup at the new and improved Ryan Nissan. Whether it's the sleek and stylish Murano, the adventure-ready Pathfinder, or the reimagined, ready-for-anything 2026 Rogue, the all-new Ryan Nissan has the vehicle of your dreams at a price perfect for any budget. It's time to rediscover your passion for the road. It's time to rediscover the all-new Ryan Nissan, engineered to endure.
Back we come here on Beck TV, joined now by Elliot Greenberg, founder and CEO of Masculine Man. I don't know if I know a more masculine man than the gentleman on the screen with me right now, sitting in sunny Arizona, just enjoying the high life, but not sweating. Not sweating because he figured out how to make a product that really is incredibly beneficial all over the United States and, in fact, all over the world.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
So, Elliot, I've been using this product for probably the last 2 or 3 months. When you told me about it, I want to say that I kind of was like, yeah, all right, whatever, it's just deodorant, right? But this isn't just deodorant. This is kind of the new wave of kind of looking at that concept of deodorant and the concept of stinky man body and really putting it into perspective of how you've come up with a product that is going to take care of that day in and day out.
That's right. Absolutely. Took a lot of work, a lot of formulations, a lot of process to make sure that we're making a product that actually stands up to the rigors of what guys do on a daily basis. And, you know, I feel very confidently to say that we've delivered on that experience.
So we're in a time where we're more cognizant about the things we're putting in our body and really more importantly, the things we're putting on our body. And aluminum has been a big part of deodorant and masking scent and all the different things for a number of years. You pulled that piece that's kind of been that, I don't want to say not healthy, but the piece that people really wanted to eliminate. You eliminated it and still come up with a really good product.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing that we wanted to do is remove the aluminum from that deodorant. There were so many different research points that were driving us in that direction as the first thing to do, and then work on the natural components of the product that will actually create that longevity and provide a healthy deodorant. But aluminum specifically is known to contribute to a lower testosterone level, messes with your endocrine system. And there are so many different research articles out there that talk about how it's an early contributor for early onset Alzheimer's and early onset dementia. And then less for men, but it still is a contributor to breast cancer, but obviously much more significant in women. So women should be looking at that in their deodorant products as well.
This product, I think in the world we live in today, there's 3 little letters we like to enjoy, and that's the USA. And this product is made right here in the United States of America. And that, to a lot of people, to me, is incredibly important.
That's right. Absolutely. Made in America, supporting American jobs. That is part of the values of our company. We are here to make sure that we are keeping here domestically and, you know, building a great workforce that contributes to the country, contributes to the nation, and contributes to the state of Arizona right now, because that's where our manufacturing is being done.
Smell is a problem. Guys stink. That's the reality of the world we live in. I have a son. He's turning 13. He's at that age where he doesn't smell himself, but I do, right? We guys smell, and smell is important, right? And we have a million different opportunities, a million different places you can get scent from. But from a deodorant perspective, you're used to it being there and then being gone incredibly quickly. That's just not the case with the deodorants you provide at Masculine Man.
That's right. 100% correct. So our formulation process was all about creating a deodorant that was natural, healthy, free of aluminum, that lasted the entire day. So when you put our stuff on at 6 o'clock in the morning, you work a full day from 6 to 6, and then you go to the gym after work. And when you come home, goal and what we have designed is for you to give your wife a hug and you to still smell just like the deodorant. And we've accomplished that. When it comes to the fragrances, we don't want you smelling like a tree. We don't want you smelling like the outdoors. All of our fragrances are reverse engineered from different high-end men's colognes that smell fantastic. So it's really just a personal preference of what scent you like the best and matches your personality and what your wife likes, girlfriend likes, whatever the case may be. And you're just going to smell amazing all day long. And then when it comes to teenagers, this was a big factor. My son was 14 when we started working on this, trying the different natural deodorants that were in the marketplace, not finding products that we liked. And we spent a year developing that formula. He used that product every day. He's 16 years old now, goes to the gym once or twice a day, has a girlfriend, and she's all over him because he smells great. He doesn't smell like BO, and that's what we want, right?
When we think about deodorant, I mean, it comes in many shapes and sizes, right? I mean, you can go into the aisle at any large retail store and you're bombarded, right? You're bombarded with all these different things. And we go back to your dad and my dad and the Old Spices and all these big things. But we're talking about a product that not only comes in a larger form in a single stick, but we got these 3.2 ounce ones out in front of us. These are ones that you can throw in an overnight bag. You can throw them and take them on the airplane, because when you go, every time you go to leave home, you got to think about what's going to be able to go in my carry-on. These are going to fit in a carry-on, and more importantly, you're going to take that scent you're so used to and that usage of that deodorant at home, and you're going to take that on the road with you.
That's right. So we provide 20% more deodorant than you're going to get in a traditional deodorant stick. Most of our competitors are 2.65 to 2.45 ounces. We wanted to give our customers more. So not only are you not reapplying throughout the day, but you are getting more product. And that means a lot, being able to give more to our customers. And then when it comes to travel, there's no issue going through an airport. There's no issue going through a gym bag. Our top is a screw-on top. And so you don't have to worry about the product opening up in your gym bag and getting all over your clothing, ruining some of the clothes that are in there. We hear about those issues all the time with the pop-off tops, and you're just not going to run into that with our product.
So one thing I've noticed, again, having used it for the last couple of months, is you tend to, at least I do, you tend to put deodorant on, and when you're done, you're like, wow, I put too much on. I mean, this, you kind of keep applying, right? And you're like, I can't see it, I don't feel it, it's not there. When you put Masculine Man on, all the different fragrances that you have, you make 1 or 2, 3 swipes on your armpit, and A, you can see it, B, you can feel it, and you know what's there. And again, for a guy who's got fair complexion like myself, and hairy armpits, you lift it up, you can see it. Like, you can see it, it sticks to it, it's there, and it doesn't, when you put it on, it doesn't feel like, man, this is gonna be gone in an hour or 2 hours. It's there for the long haul.
Yeah, correct. It's going to be there all day. It's also not going to leave any white marks on your shirts. It's not going to leave any yellow stains on your shirts. So all the things that people want in a deodorant, it's going to give you. And all the things that you're not wanting in a deodorant, it's not going to give you. And we addressed all those different concerns. Again, longevity, scent, staining of clothing, and then also just providing more product and making it easy to carry.
So you continue to advance this product. You've had it on the market for a little while. I've had great success. What's next? I mean, what's next for Masculine Man, and what other products can we assume to see coming out from you folks down in Arizona?
Yeah, so we're going to be creating a natural body wash, natural bar soaps, shampoo, conditioner, again, also natural, all healthy. And then, there's other ideas. We're looking at a spray cologne. Because of all of our fragrances are different high-end men's colognes that we reverse engineered, what we'd like to do is be able to make an affordable cologne that smells just like the stuff that you're getting at Macy's or Nordstrom's. And because the scents are virtually identical, you're getting a really good deal if we can make sure that we can put it together with the high quality that I'm expecting us to put together. And one of the things about me is I will keep going and working on a product until it's perfect.
When we think about trust, and we live in a world now where we live in a throwaway world, let's be honest, we're through products quickly, right? We get something, we use it, we either love it or we don't, and if we don't love it, we move on, right? And I'll tell you, my wife and I mean, she's the one who buys the deodorant, right? Goes to the box store, buys it, brings it home, and we now have a stock up because every time she goes, she thinks she has to buy for us. And the reality is she's buying for her because I've been using Masculine Man for the last 3 or 4 months, and she's like, "What are we gonna do with all this deodorant?" I'm like, "I don't know, but I'm not using it," and I'm not one to really worry about it. But I can tell you personally that I've went through this product the last 3 months, and I've used a lot of deodorants, sensitive underarms. I have not had a single problem, and I've been told by my wife, like you stated before, you don't stink. Why don't you stink?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, toss your old stuff in the garbage, give it a try. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but you're going to be much happier with our deodorant. You're going to smell great all day. We give you more. We sell it as sets of 2, where you can buy your 2 favorite scents. You can do a mix and match. You could buy our 4-pack, which is that beautiful box that you have on the table. And it comes with all 4 of your scents, so you can figure out which one that you like the most. And then, moving forward, you can get your favorite, your 2 favorites, kind of go from there. And then we'll have all the other new products coming out that match those amazing fragrances.
Well, again, Elliot Greenberg, CEO and founder of Masculine Man, we appreciate your time. I personally appreciate the product that you've put out as a user for the last 3 months. It's changed. It really has changed, how bad laundry day is, and it's changed how I've smelled. So we appreciate it. And again, a good product. We're happy to support it here at Beck TV, and we continue to hope that you can have success in a world that people need to wake up and realize that this is one of those things that is going to be good to put on their body, and it's free of that aluminum.
Yes. Do you mind if I tell people where they can find it?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So they can find it at masculinemanessentials.com, and we're giving away a 10% discount to all your listeners with the code BECK10. And we truly appreciate the support. And, we feel very confident that the Beck TV customer is going to love their Masculine Man deodorant.
I'll have that website on the screen for you here as well. Again, Masculine Man, 10% off using the code BECK10. Elliot, thank you so much for your time. We'll take a break. Back with more after this on Beck TV.
Masculine Men.
Masculine Men. Masculine Men.
Masculine Men. Masculine Men.
Masculine Men.
I bought this product, and no joke, definitely get it for your man, your boyfriend, your grandfather, your father. It's it's real.
All right.
Like, smells great.
Let's get
Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose. I want to tell you, Lady Blue and I, we got a lot of miles together, but you know what? You and I got a lot of miles together as well. And all I want to do is bring to you the information on how we maintain a domestic supply of food and fuel for future generations. So I'm going to continue to travel the world and unearth the stories that make it possible that we can live in a free United States of America.
Hello, friends. This is Culture Crossroads. Join me, Andrew Southbridge, and my co-hosts, R.C. Williams and Juliana Ormond, as we tackle the issues shaping America. From politics to pop culture, to faith, freedom, family, and the future. From a faith-based conservative perspective that you won't get anywhere else. We stand at the intersection of faith and freedom. This is Culture Crossroads. Culture Crossroads, Sundays at 5 p.m. Central on Beck TV.
Come on in and experience small town hospitality and the personalized care that makes car buying a pleasure.
We know that every journey starts with the right car. Whether it's school drop-off, weekend road trips, or your daily commute, we have the right vehicle for you and your family.
With trusted brands, affordable prices, and the team that treats you like family, finding your next car has never been so easy.
We pride ourselves on personal attention and quality service. The Set Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Welcome to Arrowhead Cleaners. Newly renovated, modernized, and ready to make your cleaning needs hassle-free. From commercial and residential wash and fold laundry services to the latest in professional dry cleaning techniques, we are dedicated to your unique needs, offering alterations, fabrications, and even custom hat making. So whether you're a busy professional, a family on the go, or even a rodeo champion, Arrowhead Cleaners is here to take your things from messed up to dressed up. Now celebrating our 64th year in Arrowhead Plaza.